Hey, I wanted to do this video for a while. I'm Vanessa the Waterloo Watermelons. Interesting one. And I wanted to just make my own even more. Um, I'm also making this video for future me to look back and go, huh, my opinion's slightly different now. Um, I'll try and keep honorable mentions and ties to a minimum. I wanna say it because I'm good at yapping, but I I surprise myself sometimes when I realize that English is my first language. Obviously my opinion will always be different to yours. If you disagree, then you can put your opinions in the comment and I'll probably respond. I'm here to show you my favorite albums from each year. Not to say my opinion is factual, because it isn't. Here, well, so yeah, here's um here's my favorite albums from each year from 1963 to 2023. Um, this probably isn't going to be very surprising, but Please Please Me by the Beatles. Um, my picks are going to be quite generic throughout the 60s, but being realistic, there are a lot of good 60s bands and musicians, but none of them really top. None of them can really top the Beatles. Yeah, 1964, Hard Day's Night by the Beatles. I wouldn't say Please Please Me or Hard Day's Night are as timeless as their later work like Magical Mystery Tour or Abbey Road. This is a very nice album for any feeling or emotion. It also comes with a very silly film with very bad acting and very good humour. It's one of my personal favourite films of all time. 1965, Help by the Beatles. I have a separate video. If you wanna hear my opinions on every Beatles album, but I can't really say anything new now. Yeah, 1966, Revolver by the Beatles. Okay, but you'll never guess what's coming next. Okay, 1967. Okay, a little unusual, on, oh my god, I accidentally switched my printer on. Little honorable mention. Sergeant Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band by the Beatles, but the real winner for 1967 is Magical Mystery Tour. Okay. 1968. The White Album. Can you shut up? Okay, you'll probably not hear that, but my printer is going insane. 1968, the White Album by the Beatles. Like, you either love this album or hate it, and I personally love it. 1969, Abbey Road by the Beatles. The sad part is, technically, this isn't going to be the last Beatles album on this list. Okay, anyway, now we're on to the 70s. Okay, 1970, All Things Must Pass by George Harrison. I'm not crazy about George's solo career like I am with Paul's or Ringo's or John's. I really do like All Things Must Pass and Cloud Nine, but that's really it. I want to get more into George Harrison, to be honest. Um, yeah. Anyway, um, did I accidentally switch on my printer again? Okay, 1971, Ram by Paul McCartney. Okay, this album has been getting more attention recently, what I've noticed, and I love that. It got a lot of hate when it came out for very obvious reasons. Even the other Beatles hated it, but like, it's just such a nice album with whimsical songs. Like, what more? Can you actually shut up? I hate my printer so much. Okay, yeah, shut down. Okay, it's off now. Yeah, fuck it. Let's have all the Beatles. Honorable mention, Sometime in New York by John Lennon. Well, but for the real winner for 1972 is very obviously Ziggy Stardust by Pink, not Pink Floyd, David Bowie. How how I got that mixed up, I'm not quite sure. Yeah, I don't need to explain why this is a great album. But 1963, The Dark Side of the Moon by Pink Floyd. Yeah, this album is amazing. I think it like changes how you listen to music, like any album from then on. Like you just need to listen to it like at least once in your life. Anyway, 1974. Good Night Vienna by Ringo Starr. I am autistic and I was not born in the 60s, so please do not shame me for loving the Beatles. 1975. Wish You Were Here by Pink Floyd. Okay, from now on, my picks are gonna get a lot less generic. Okay, trust me, please. Honorable, for fuck's sake. Honorable mention for this year is Arrival by ABBA. But the real winner of 1976 is Wings at the Speed of Sound by Wings. As much as I love ABBA and the singles from Arrival, I think speed of Wings at the Speed of Sound has just a lot more to it. I also love the demo takes in the archives version, especially how raw and real and intimate some demos tracks are, like He's My Baby. 1977, Out of the Blue by Electric Light Orchestra. Okay. Yeah. Anyway, 1978. Parallel Lines by Blondie. I actually discovered Blondie through a massive phase of, like... I'm just not gonna get into that, to be honest. I'm not gonna get into that. Honorable mention. Rule Views by ABBA. But the real winner for 1979 is very clearly Drums and Wires by XTC. There's just no competition, to be honest. I want to try stop saying stuff like, I love this album, it's great. Yeah, that's why I put it on this list. I'm slightly biased because I got recommended this album by someone who is not in my life anymore. My favorite track is either Making Plans for Nigel for very obvious reasons, or Millions, or Day In Day Out. Honorable mention, McCartney 2 by Paul McCartney and Organisation by Orchestral Maneuvers in the Dark. Well, the real winner for 1980. Oh my god, we're on 80s already. Okay, Super Trooper by ABBA. Anyway, 1981. Jesus. Okay, Toute la musique by Franz Gall. It was so hard for me to find like a good album from this year, so I just settled on a nice French pop album I like. That one Soft Cell album came out this year, and outside of Tainted Love and Where Did Our Love Go, which are great songs by the way, I absolutely love them. The album is quite an experience. It's just it's not for me. Like for this video, I was gonna like re-listen to it to see if I like it on like a second listen. And you know, the opening track, just hear them say frustration. I was like, what the fuck am I getting myself into? I'm moving on. Yeah, the Police also did a quite a decent album this year, but you know, the real winner goes to Franz Gall. Winner for this year is Pornography by The Cure. Honorable mention, that one album name I can't pronounce by The Police. But yeah, 1983, Let's Dance by David Bowie. As for now, this is my favorite, but I don't really want many albums. My brain's fried. I'm so sorry. Vivid. my brain is completely fried. 1984, The Smiths' self-titled debut album. Couldn't think of anything else. Fuck Morrissey. I don't like separating the art from the artist. Just want to make that clear. I do not separate the art from the artist. I fucking hate Morrissey. But I do really like Johnny Marr. I think he is the main talent. He is definitely the main talent of the Smiths. But yeah, fuck Morrissey. He's a dickhead. Honorable mention, Once Upon a Time by A Simple Minds. Real winner for 1985 is Head on the Door by The Cure. Yeah. Yeah. Moving on. 1986. The Queen is Dead by The Smiths. Okay, I'm seeing a lot on Instagram about like comparing the Smiths to The Cure, seeing which band is better. Very, very obvious winner to The Cure. The Smiths don't come close. The Cure are just so much better. 1987, Kick by Nx. Um, yeah, 1988, Kylie Minogue, self-titled. 1989, Doolittle by the Pixies. Not gonna lie, not many Americans have made this list. So, um, well done, Pixies. Um, 1990, The Last self-titled. 1991, Leisure by Blur. Far from the greatest. Um, Blur. Yeah, Far from the greatest Blur album. You're gonna see a fuck ton of Blur from now on. Anyway, my God. 1992. Wait, we're on the 90s already? Okay. Yeah, 1992. Slanted and Enchanted by Pavement. Um, Republic by New Order. Anywho, let's move on. 1994, there's a tie, our first tie between Park Life by Blur and Definitely Maybe by Oasis. You can't pick. That is probably why it's so like such a popular debate about which band is better. It's so hard to pick out of Blur and Oasis. I like Damon Albarn way more than Liam Gallagher, but like I feel like their discographies are just so equal. Anyway, tied again for 1995 between The Bends by Radiohead and What's the Story at Morning Glory by Oasis. Yeah, another tie. There's no way I'm able to just pick two out of these four amazing Britpop albums. Honorable mention, Dusk and At Cubist by the by, uh name on screen name on screen 1996, A Long Season by Fishmans. Sadly, Fishmans don't show up again on this list, but I much prefer their live album. I'm so sad their live album doesn't make the list. Anyway, also there's no way I'm just gonna basically let Revolver Worship win this year. That's a reference to like the honorable mention. Honorable mention. I'm seeing so honorable mention so many times. Honorable mention, OK Computer by Radiohead and Brighton the Corners by Pavement. The real winner is Blur, self-titled for 1997. It would be a bit weird if I didn't mention OK Computer here. I think it's a tiny bit overrated. There's way better Radiohead albums. But at the same time, I don't really want to complain about if an album is overrated. If it's from, my home country. Honestly, I don't want to complain if an album is overrated. If it just brings a little more love to my home country. Honorable mention, Mezzamine by or Mezzamine by Massive Attack. But the real winner from 1998 is In the Aeroplanes. No, I'm just kidding. It's With a Boy with the Arab Jabba by Belle and Sebastian. Yeah. In the Aeroplanes Over the Sea by Neutral Milk Hotel is probably a very popular answer for this year, but to me, the album, there's a few good tracks, but it's at the same time, most of it is very generic. It's acoustic folk. Did I already say that? Most of the album sounds very generic acoustic folk album to me. I really like folk when it's done, perfectly. It's just, it kind of loses me, that album. But on the other hand, Boy We Are of Star is not a single dull moment. It's a fantastic album. 1999, 13 by Blur. This is not the last Blur appearance, that is. Honorable mention. Oh my god, we're on 2000s. Okay, I think we're on the 2000 now. Honorable mention, and then Nothing Tied Itself Inside Out by Yola Tango. The real winner for the year 2000 is Kid A by Radiohead. I'm counting Kid A and Amnesia as the same album because it is. No one can convince me otherwise. Is 2001, no surprise here, is This It by The Strokes. Although it's far from my favourite Strokes record, I really appreciate the influence throughout the 2000s. I know a lot of albums I really like were influenced by this album. It's got really good singles, but like the other tracks just kind of feel a bit fillery. But yeah, my favorite Strokes album is definitely the New Abnormal. There's no beating that, but I can still really appreciate Is This It. 2002, of a bracket by the Libertines. Easiest fucking pick ever. This album is poetic, catchy, and perfect in every single way, and I can't stress that enough. Opens with one of the most overlooked opening tracks in existence, then onto like my favorite childhood track, Death on the Stairs, which originally I feel was called Death on the Stars, which is, way cooler title track in my opinion. But yeah, I was calling it Death on the Stars for like 10 years. Anyway, a lot more Libertines talk later. But right now, 2003, Think Tank by Blur. This is the last appearance by Blur, finally, on this list. This is my tied favourite Blur project with 13. Think Tank's definitely the most overlooked. It's not as experimental as 13, I don't think. It's like a way more laid back. At least we've still got like them silly songs like Crazy Beat and Trailer Park, which I happen to love dearly. And they weren't lying, a good song is a very fucking good song. Yeah, it sounds like a scrapped Gorillaz album, a bit like For Fall. It's very like laid back. It's probably my favorite one of Damien Albarn's albums of all time. It's amazing. Now 2004, back to the Libertines. There's no competition really. The Libertines self-titled is the winner for 2004. Another extremely easy pick. This is one of the greatest rock albums of all time, in my opinion. I'll die on that hill. I was somewhat dreading talking about albums like this on the list because there's just so much my ADHD brain would like to talk about, and I'm terrible at explaining literally anything. Please watch the Trash Theories video. I Can't Stand Me Now, The Shipwreck of the Libertines. It's such an amazing video about the history of this extraordinary band. It's amazing. Yeah, if you're into garage rock, I highly recommend, or any rock in general, highly recommend just at least looking at the history of the Libertines. It's fantastic. We were on a Disney Plus documentary, this year, earlier this year. It's called Camden on Disney Plus. It doesn't really include a lot of the Libertines, but you get to know some stuff about them anyway. 2005, honorable mention, Sad Not Alone by Block Party. Actually, I'm reconsidering that to be a honorable mention because it has nothing on the winners. It's tied between Demon Days by Gorillaz and The New Fellas by The Cribs. Yeah, the obvious winner is Demon Days, but I can't just not mention The New Fellas. It's such an easy 10 out of 10 garage rock album. It's incredible. For 2006, another year with just no competition. Whatever people say that's what I'm not, by Arctic Monkeys. One of the greatest debut albums of all time. I don't think I need to talk about how amazing this album is. I must admit, it was kind of put off Arctic Monkeys for a few years when they got like popular on TikTok. I know it's such a shitty thing for me to say, but the band was just so special to me. But then when like over in like 505, and what's the other song called? The other one. What's the other popular one? um, I Wanna Be Yours. Yeah, when them songs sort of like blew up on like TikTok and Instagram, I was just kind of ashamed to be an Arctic Monkeys fan. I'm not gonna lie. Like, if you look at the top 10 tracks on Spotify, like none of them, I don't think any of them were Whatever People Say I Am, That's What I'm Not, or Favorite Worst Nightmare, other than 505, which is just really, really sad. I'm not saying like they were better back then. I preferred them back then, but I do really appreciate how they're exploring like different sounds. Like every two albums, they tend to like switch sounds. If I were to rank the albums, number 7, although I really did like it, would be The Car. And number 6, Tranquility Base Hotel and Casino. Number 4, AM. Um, or maybe tied with Tranquility Base Hotel and Casino. Earlier this year, I did like, re-listen to the album and didn't realize how lyrically amazing the album is. So maybe AM tied with it. Suck at Sea at number 4, Favorite Worst Nightmare number 3, Humbug at number 2, which is very, very controversial. I just think Favorite Worst Nightmare has extremely good singles, but has a lot of filler tracks. Humbug is good, amazing all the way through, and whatever people say, that's not obviously number 1. Oh gosh, 2007. Okay, I was dreading this year. Okay, this year has another tie, but between the 4 albums. So let's start with the obvious one, In Rainbows by Radiohead. There's a reason why this is one of the highest rated albums of the 2000s. The next honorable mention, kind of, Colour It In by the Maccabees. Absolutely flawless garage rock album. Everything about this is incredible. The lyrics, the flow, just everything. There's a brand new story in like each individual track that's just so unique lyrically. Speaking of some riffs like in tracks like All in Your Rose, Latchmere, or About Your Dress, just makes my childhood flash before my eyes. It's such an easy 10 out of 10 album. I honestly think the Maccabees are one of the greatest overlooked bands of all time. They made 4 absolute perfect albums, then just split up, which I found really, really sad. And I do think maybe Marks to Prove It was missing the matureness of Given to the Wild, and Given to the Wild was like lacking the rockiness of Marks to Prove It. First 2 albums are like absolutely incredible. But all of their stuff are incredible. Just Wall of Arms and Colour It In are just 2 highlights, I guess. Then Hugo White and Felix White, they went on to form a new band without Orlando Weeks. Orlando Weeks, I kind of like became a bit of an author, and he's got his own small solo career. But I just feel like 86 TVs, it's just not the same without Orlando Weeks. I just really want Orlando Weeks. It's got a really cool. Why does everyone in the band have such a cool name? Anyway, Hugo White, Marry Me. Anyway, next album on this list is Panic Prevention by Jamie T. This album again is perfect in every single way possible. Jamie is such a poetic genius. Although I haven't been a massive fan of his last 3 albums or so, I still appreciate his like older, rawer stuff, because like Panic Prevention, one of the rawest albums I've ever listened to, and it's so incredible. But if I had a gun to my head, I'd say my favourite is A Guide to Love, Loss and Desperation by the Wombats. I don't want to get too personal about how much this album means to me, but everything about it is just perfect. The Wombats have been very special to me growing up, and throughout my whole life really. And I regret like all the times I said I don't like the Wombats because it seems uncool. That's just the biggest lie. The Wombats have will always have a place in my heart. As cringy as that sounds, A Guide to Love, Loss and Desperation is a really good mix of nostalgia and just the natural charm Matthew Murphy, Todd, the other one, Dan, and just naturally have. If I could describe my life in a single album, I would pick this one. it's such a comfort album. I find it weird recommending it to people because I can't imagine how it sounds without the nostalgia of a personal connection to this album, as stupid as that sounds. I feel weird recommending comfort stuff to people in general. Other than my own personal connection, this album is so fucking amazing and perfect. Everyone I've shown this album to have said they've loved it. The lyrics, the flow, the track placing is all genius. So, um, next up we've got 2008. Honorable mention, Antidotes by Foals. It's so sad that it doesn't get its own segment, but there's a clear winner for 2008, which is 21 by Mystery Jets. This album is absolutely beautiful. This album is beautiful. It's just perfect in every single way, and I know I sound like a broken record right now because I'm talking about my favorite albums from each year. So obviously I'm gonna love every single one on this list, but so I don't want to say it's one of my favorite albums of all time, but it kind of is. Honorable mentions. Wait, are we done with 2008 already? Is that all I want to say about it? Basically, the A side of this album is full with a bunch of like indie pop, and then you slowly slip into an existential crisis on the B side. A lot of the lyrics are very personal to me, and I just have I actually talked to the vocalist Blaine Harrison one time, and just about the incredible lyrics on this album. Honorable mention for 2009: Wolfgang Amadeus Phoenix by Phoenix, Wall of Arms by the Maccabees, and Kings and Queens by Jamie T. I wasn't gonna mention Kings and Queens, but that album is just has such like an importance to my childhood. It's definitely not as good as Panic Prevention, but you know, it's got low. It has lows, but it's got very high highs. But if you can't have Jamie T as 368, then you can't have it as fucking Man Machines. That's not gonna make any sense to anyone. But anywho, 2009. Oh lord, I had the blues, but I shook them loose by Bombay Bicycle Club. One of the best debut albums of all time, in my opinion. It's kind of sad that Wolfgang Amadeus Phoenix doesn't get its own section because it's also one of my favorite shoegaze albums of all time. Considering The Blues is one of my favorite albums, I do wish they dipped more into the shoegaze sound before discovering their different kind of fixed sound. Like, I would love to hear way more songs like Curl Up Like a Dead Leaf and Go Where the Wind Blows and Cancel on Me. I think songs are so beautiful. I just wish that they dipped into more shoegaze before like their more different kind of fixed sound. And I'm aware for a debut album of a band that's just starting out, it's helpful for the album is like radio friendly and decently short, around 30 minutes. But I really wish they added more tracks. Like they did more stuff with tracks like How Are You, Pedestal, maybe more, 16, Open House. I really wish they used the original version of The Hill, which features on the Boy I Used to Be EP. For the actual album, I think it's so much stronger. Yeah, the demo, the original version on the EP, I think it's just so much stronger vocally, and I could be wrong, but I think The Hill and The Ghost are the only two Bombay songs which include swearing, and that brings me on to my next part. I think Jack Steadman is just way too smart for swearing, to be honest. It really shows off his like talent lyrically. Like he's just too smart for swearing, in my opinion. I made a playlist including every single song related to the album, and it adds up to 40 songs. So you know, good opportunity for maybe a deluxe re-release or something. It'll be on the screen right now. I really wish just certain tracks weren't left as just B-sides. Because does Jack Stedman even know How You exists? They do not get the light of day, and I find it really sad. And how the hell did Autumn get on the album, but not How Are You? Anywho, still a flawless album. 2010, Total Life Forever by Foals. Not as good as Antidotes, but it's very hard to beat. Antidotes is amazing in every single way. After Total Life Forever, Foles have kind of been refusing to experiment until, I think it was like 2020 or something. Uh, or later, or earlier, a bit earlier, don't know. Everything Not Saved Will Be Lost Part 2. That album is great. Anything in between that to Total Life Forever, I've just been kind of like generic. I just wish Foles like would experiment a lot more. Like Antidote's such an experimental album, extremely experimental. I wish they still had that sound to them. But like they kind of just found their unique sound and then stuck with it for like quite a lot of albums. And it wasn't until the part two of Everything Not Saved Will Be Lost, like they started experimenting more again. Part one was kind of, not to be rude, but it was kind of shit. And but part two I really really liked. And I think their latest album was something called 3 AM or something like that. Or maybe that was just a single. That album, it was okay, but I would love some more stuff like Everything Not Saved Will Be Lost Part 2. Anywho, 2011, it's tied between The Different Kind of Fix by Bombay Bicycle Club. I made an entire video just on Bombay Bicycle Club. You can watch that. Please watch that. Oh, Jesus Christ, that's going to be like a year old. When this video finally comes out, that video is going to be a year old now. Jesus Christ. Yeah, you can watch that to hear all my opinions on Bombay Bicycle Club. I probably have way different opinions now. My opinions change a lot. And The English Riviera by Metronomy. Yeah. I'd honestly be surprised if Metronomy doesn't make my #1 spot when Spotify Wrapped comes out this December. It's hard to pick a favourite Metronomy record. It's like trying to pick a favourite child. But, Summer '08 is like the disappointment you don't want to be mean to. It's like the jobless loser disappointment child. Anyway. Yeah, I can't. Maybe, okay, it's a good record, but, Hang Me Out to Dry is an atrocious song. It's such everything after Hang Me Out to Dry got really good. Anyway, this isn't about Summer '08. This is about English Riviera. It's really sad I can't even talk about Metronomy, just that one album. We've got like such a diverse discography. It's hard to talk about just one album. I wouldn't say English Riviera is my favorite album. I honestly don't know. My mind changes all the time. I just adore everything Metronomy is. Anyway, yeah, I could talk about this band for hours. I love Joe's producing on lyrics. I love Hannah's vocals and drums. Whatever Oscar brings to the table, love it. And the bassist, I'm not gonna even try to attempt his name. But he's probably my favorite bassist of all time, not including Paul McCartney. He's much more than a bassist. I think everyone knows that. Anyway, 2012. Honorable mention is given to The Wild by the Maccabees, but the real winner, very clearly, Lonerism by Tame Impala. Possibly a very unpopular opinion, but Lonerism is far better than Currents. Although Currents has like the less I know the better, and Let It Happen. Feel like the album is a lot more like structured and a lot less raw. Lonerism is a lot less polished, and I love the album because of that. It's just so raw, and just I think Tame Impala just definitely knew what he was doing with Lonerism. It doesn't seem like Kevin, is that his name? It just seems like he didn't know what he was doing, and that's what I love about the album. It's just so raw and just so less polished than Currents. But yeah, it does have better singles, not gonna lie. Honorable mentions for the next year, 2013. Jesus Christ, we're on 2010? Since when? Okay. Right Thoughts, Right Words, Right Action by Franz Ferdinand. Great album. Damn it. I hate how it doesn't get its own segment. But the real winner for 2013, right now, I'm gonna have to say Roaring Twenties by Rizzle Kicks. Rizzle Kicks are also back, by the way. It's very, very exciting. Why is everyone returning in 2024? Jesus. Anyway, this album is generally amazing. Wasn't expecting comedy rap to make the list, but I just adore the flow and the lyrics in this album. It's absolutely incredible. I love how like they also have songs like Miss Cigarette and When I Was a Youngster, because like songs like that really show off like how they can have serious lyrics, but I also love their really goofy lyrics. Um, Anywho, if I needed to pick a favorite Little Kicks album, it would be Roaring Twenties. Although I think the debut album has better singles. 2014, honorable mention, Everyday Robots by Damien Albarn. But 2014 is also tied between So Long See You Tomorrow by Bombay Bicycle Club and Love Letters by Metronomy. Love Letters is probably my favourite melancholy psychedelic lo-fi album out there, but that is a very specific genre. If you're into melancholy psychedelic lo-fi, if you're an artist, specifically a melancholy psychedelic lo-fi artist, try and top Love Letters. I bet you can't. Honorable mention for next year is Glitterbug by the Wombats. Guess what? In the middle of a recording, I've changed my mind. Honorable mention, Anthems from Doomed Youth by the Libertines. I remember crying when this came out, just crying throughout the whole thing. Libertines are back. This album is just so fresh, but still sounding like the Libertines. It's so great. It's kind of sad how there wasn't a lot of new songs though. It was mostly just re-recorded unreleased songs. But some of them, I prefer the original demos, like Seven Deadly Sins and Bucket Shop and You're My Waterloo. I think they had better. I think the demo versions are better. But the real winner. Oh, Jesus Christ. Oh, Lord. I just realized it's going to be 10 years until these albums came out. Next year, it's almost been 10 years since Anthems of Doomed Youth came out. As well as Glitterbug by the Wombats, who is the winner for 2015. Oh, Lord. The time is going way too fast. 2016, A Moon-Shaped Pool by Radiohead. It's so weird to me that the amount of time between now and the release of the final Radiohead album is the same amount of time as the entire lifespan of the Beatles. The fucking Beatles. Oh yeah, I remember listening to this day when it came out, and it does not feel like that long ago. Jesus Christ. 2017, I See You by the XX. Definitely not their best work, but still pretty solid anyway. Also, another thing about Moonshaped Pool has one of my favourite opening tracks of all time. Anywho, honorable mention, Tranquility Base Hotel and Casino by Arctic Monkeys, and Twin Fantasy by Car Seat Headrest. But real winner, for 2018 is Beautiful People Will Ruin Your Life by the Wombats. Well, I remember this album came out at just the right time in my life. I really, really needed it. There's a lot of tracks that I try not to listen to now just because of the memories I bring back. But incredible album. I also love how the album ends with an acoustic version of Lethal Combination. It's just so beautiful. Very bittersweet end to the album. 2019, okay. Metronomy, Forever by Metronomy. The final great album in the world before the world went to shit. Listening to this in order on a dark winter evening. Listening to this in order, going on a dark winter evening walk, just feels life-changing. It's incredible. Very like psychedelic and electronic. If you're into that shit, it's almost Christmas. Go for oh god, it's Christmas in a few months. Go for a walk. Listen to this album in order. It just feels life changing. That's if you're into the genre that is. 2020, got tied between Everything Else Has Gone Wrong by Bombay Bicycle Club and The New Abnormal by The Strokes. Both albums are like hiatus albums, and it's so obvious the albums mean like mean a lot to both of the bands. So there's no way I can just pick one. Bombay Bicycle Club is obviously one of my favorite bands of all time. The Strokes, I could take it or leave it. So funny. Hello, I'm back. I forgot what I'm up to. So let's start with 2021. Honorable mention, Back in Love City by The Vaccines. The real winner is Animal by Laura Marling. But you cannot convince me it was a real year. It was just an extended 2020. For 2022, Small World by Metronomy. I'm probably forgetting a lot of albums what came out of 2022. A very forgetful year. I don't want to remember that year, to be honest. For 2023, honorable mentions, The Ballad of Darren by Blur, Re vs. Y by Paramore, and My Big Day by Bombay Bicycle Club. For 2023, I'm gonna go with Messy by Olivia Dean. I've been such a big fan of Olivia Dean since like her debut in 2019, and she's just gone so far in her career. I wish you released more music this year. I'm pretty sure there's only been like one single, which is really sad. I want her to release more music so badly, but I guess I just need to be patient. Yeah, and that's it. 2024 had a pretty dreadful start with Vultures 1, Tortured Poets Department, and Deeper Well. Then out of nowhere, so many good albums. This has been like such a good album. This has been such a good year for music, in my opinion. So many great albums. If I needed to pick a favorite album, I think maybe Brat and Pulsar. But there's been so many, like The Smile, Vampire Weekend, The Libertines. So many great bands returned this year, as well as Metronomy, with the singles they released were so amazing, and I'm so glad. Like I'm really happy with like their new sound, and I've loved their new EP. Yeah, anyway, tell me your thoughts on this list in the comments, or make your own list. That'd be awesome. Thank you for watching. Although this video was very fun to make, it was probably a lot of albums and artists I wanted to mention, but I couldn't. Anyway, yeah, bye.